I'm so thrilled to be here. Oh my goodness. Every time I make my way out to a Halifax social network, I'm on my way here and I'm like thinking, I'm so tired. Like, we've got 3 kids, right? And so I'm busy most of my days cleaning poo off of things because my youngest has this fascination with not making it to the toilet. I'm serious. It's so frustrating, and this is my life, right? So I'm like, how am I going to make myself feel happy and be able to like talk with people? And then I get here and I realize it's not me having to make myself happy. I get to talk with each of you and we share this interaction and all of you build me up. I'm so grateful for all of you being in my life. I'm genuinely grateful for all of you being in my life. So, quality of life. I've been thinking about that. What does that mean? What the hell does that mean? Like a couple years ago, I thought I had that figured out. Quality of life, yeah. Eat healthy, read good stuff. Don't pollute your mind with garbage, and that kind of seemed to sum it up. Am I missing something? Sleep. Oh yeah, make sure you get enough sleep. And that, and then all of a sudden quality of life should follow along and you should be great, right? I'm only now starting to realize how clueless I've been. I've been diagnosed with depression, postpartum depression, 7 years ago. I had it long before that. And it was something that definitely crept up on me. It was when I was in the middle of what should have been the best part of my life. I had kids, I was married, we had a house, I had a job, it was all going fantastic. Except for I was having daily thoughts of wanting to kill myself. And the way that I would comfort myself was actually by thinking, don't worry, Ruth, one day it will all be over. That's not quality of life. I hid myself. I hid myself behind my children. I hid myself behind Sean. I hid myself behind the success of other people. I could be very proud of them. And that's all good. But when I used it as a shield, that's not good. That's not quality of life. That's not how you are alive. I wasn't alive. I was existing. And it's been a real problem for me. It's been a real struggle for me. A year and a half ago, I started medication for depression. And I'd like to say that that was great and everything was happily ever after, but of course that's never how it goes. We all know that. I started medication for depression, and then 2 months later, I had some of the worst thoughts. I would be driving across the bridge, and I'd be thinking, this cannot be a part of your children's story. They cannot have their mother drive off the bridge. And that would be what stopped me from swerving off of the bridge. I didn't want to live. I did not want to live. I would drag myself out of bed every morning, and it was to the needs of other people. It was, again, using these other people's needs as my shield. It was a way that I could justify my existence. But it had nothing to do with what I had to offer. I grew up being abused. I was abused in secret, and I was taught to be quiet. I was taught to take my pain and to make sure that nobody heard about it, because that pain would bring shame to other people. And I took that shame and I put it on myself, and I kept my mouth closed, and I didn't tell anybody. I have dark secrets. I have dark secrets. And I am keeping them because I don't want to hurt the people that were supposed to love me the most. And do you know what that does? That sucks the life out of you. It makes it so that you wake up in the morning and you think, Don't worry, Ruth. One day, it will all be over. That's how I lived. And then finally, one day, my grandma died. She was the strongest person that I have ever known. She was the person that when I was in the middle of the abuse, would reach down to me and pull me up. She would listen to me. She would justify me. She gave me a voice. When she died, I figured that was the end. I didn't really have the will to live after that. And I didn't want to tell anybody about it. It's funny how when you're in the middle of the darkest hours of your life, the last thing you want to do is tell somebody about it. Why is that? For me, why would I tell someone about it? I don't want to drag them down. Why would they care? They wouldn't love me anymore. There's too much mess here. Do you know that feeling? I think we all know that feeling. There's too much mess. Nobody's gonna love me. Not if they knew me. They're not gonna love me. Cue the music. So I finally did the thing that scared me the most. I started to talk to my husband about what terrified me. I was sure that he was, oh my gosh, is this gone now? Can anybody hear me still? Oh, we're okay. We're okay? All right. So I told him about the stuff that I was sure he would leave me over. Because I figured that nobody's going to want to know these deep, dark thoughts that I have inside. And I figured life was over anyway, so I may as well make sure that he understood exactly what was going on before everything ended. I let him know. And there he is, right there. He's still with me, as it turns out. Turns out, I'm not garbage. I didn't know that. And then I've met some other people that I figured, okay, well, you don't have any kind of obligation to me, so there's no real point in you actually having any connection to me and feeling the need to like stick with me no matter what happens. So I'm gonna tell you some of my garbage too and see, like, just kind of test it out, give it a test run, you know? Those people have become some of my closest friends. As it turns out, being vulnerable with people is actually what makes them love you. I've been reading this book. It's called Daring Greatly. It's by Brené Brown. Any of those Brené Brown fans out there? This is the first book of hers that I've ever read. And she talks about being whole. And she says that part of being whole is being vulnerable. I hate being vulnerable. I'm sure that most people in this room could agree with that. Because it's like you're laying out the ugliest parts of yourself. And these people, then you're like, hey, so these are the things that I'm most ashamed about. And you can take that and use that against me, and you can judge me for it. And then it's just there you are. And then you step back and you give this person permission to reject you. And as it turns out, because I've done this a couple times now, generally, they don't. Turns out people don't suck. Who would have thought? I was sure that people sucked because I definitely suck. I'm pretty sure I'm hitting my mic a lot. I suck. Like, I actually do. There's so many things that I've done that I'm absolutely ashamed of. I've screwed up so bad, so many times. And I've done things that when I think about them, it makes me want to crawl back into my hole. But the thing is, that's the way that life goes. We all screw up. We all do things that we are absolutely ashamed about. And the point is that we need to be able to look each other in the face and be like, I'm so sorry. And we need to realize that we're not perfect. I am not perfect. I've wanted to be, I've aspired to be perfect. I've had like a really super clean house, and that's felt like nothing. It didn't mean anything. I just have a clean house. What are you gonna do with that? You know, people can pop in and you're not as embarrassed, I guess. Like, I've tried all these superficial things. I've tried to be pretty, you know, you look pretty. And then you have like the pretty house. And then you have like the children that are not well behaved because kids can do whatever they want to do because they haven't bought into this whole thing that we do to ourselves yet. And it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't do anything. It's not going to add to my quality of life. Not until I open myself up and I'm vulnerable with someone and I give them the opportunity to either reject me or to love me. And we need to do that more often because we need to know that we're not alone. We need to know that we're not alone. How lonely have you ever felt? I've felt so lonely that I thought that I was in the darkest room with no doors. You know that feeling? I've been so lonely that I was sure that if I never spoke, no one would notice. Do you know that feeling? We don't need to be. We need to embrace the fact that we are light and dark. There's no perfection here. I haven't showered in like 3 days. There's too much stuff to do.
Who has the time?
Who has the time? And you know what? I had more than one person tell me tonight that I smell good. So there. Joke's on you. We're in this together, right? We're in this together. So I started a podcast. I'm going to plug for myself. Yes, shameless. I've started a podcast. It's called Optimistically Depressed. And it's where we talk about stuff that makes us vulnerable and makes us real. Yes! I am so jazzed about it. I'm so jazzed about it that I use the word jazzed. I don't use that word because I think it's kind of annoying, but I am jazzed about it. Listen to it, okay? This is people who are being brave enough to be open and vulnerable and allow people to actually love them for who they are. And that is one of the, yes, there you are, one of the people that's been on my podcast. And there you are, another person that's been on my podcast. There you are. There's a whole bunch of people that have been on my podcast in this room already. I feel like I'm now like a car salesman. Just come on, be on the podcast. I promise you that it will be a freeing experience because it actually allows you the opportunity to talk about who you are, what convictions you have, and I am gonna love you no matter what. I promise, I actually will, because I love all of you and I can't help it. It's something that's just in me. And even though I think that I'm mostly kind of a dark person, I have a dark sense of humor, and when you read my journal, you're gonna be like, what the fuck? I can't help but love you. I cannot help but love you because I know how important it is, because I have been at the bottom of the depths of the hell and I have been pulled up from it. So it's important. And so I understand that and I'm going to love you. So come on my podcast, have a listen. Optimistically Depressed. And after all of this, come up and say hi. I'd love to talk to each of you because I know that each of you have a story. I know that each of you are as screwed up as I am. And I love all of you. I really do. I can't help it. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Thanks for listening to me. Hey, you've been on my podcast too. Thank you. I love you. All right. And that's it. I'm done. Ruth out.